What if almost every problem you've ever had wasn't created by some specific event, but by the story your mind built afterwards? Most suffering doesn't begin with what happens to you. It begins with what you believe after it. For example, when that opportunity that you felt so right for passes you up, that's Act 1. Well, I guess I must not be good enough. Act 2. Which turns into, I guess I'm not supposed to have good things. I guess I am worthless. I guess. That's Act 3. Which then slowly turns into, well, I guess it'll always be this way. The event lasts 10 seconds. The story can last 10 years. Shadow work is learning to stop the play before Act 2. So what are we doing here? I started this channel as my own little secret archive. It was a place where I could return to whenever I needed perspective. It's kind of a way to chart my own inner work. And if it ever resonated with someone else, it would be because it found them when they needed it to. Hence the name. But now, as it's growing, I feel like I want to build the place I wish I had when I was wrestling with these ideas alone for someone else. I don't think this channel is about motivation or self-improvement. I think it's about learning to see. Seeing the invisible forces that are quietly shaping your life. The fears, the beliefs, the stories that we have all mistaken for ourselves. Shadow work is resistance training. The discomfort isn't failure, it's the workout. Because every unconscious belief has a way of turning into a life you swore you never chose. We can't do anything for ourselves until we wake up to what we do against ourselves. That boy, Marcus Aurelius once said, "Those who do not observe their own minds must by necessity be unhappy." And true observation requires true bravery, courage. Because once you consciously embark on this path, it can feel like it gets a lot worse before it gets infinitely better. In the same way a man who falls asleep in a canoe drifting towards a waterfall feels no urgency, but it's only when he wakes up and sees the danger does he have to paddle like hell against the current to survive. If that makes sense. But once again, shadow work is resistance training. And your shadow isn't what's wrong with you. It's what you've been unwilling or unable to look at. It's your interior world. The one and only experience that is truly yours. It's realizing how much of these thoughts and beliefs aren't even your own. How many of these things are inherited? How many of these things are learned out of survival even? Only you can feel the things that quietly hold you back. Yet it seems almost impossible to change. Why? Because you have been told that you are your mind. But that's not the full story. You are the awareness behind it. And every fear and every doubt doesn't have to become you. This isn't me teaching anyone. This is all of us comparing notes. Above anything else, this has to be useful. I don't think we're here to collect wisdom. We're here to test it. To live it. For me personally, the most valuable thing I had been testing recently was radical acceptance. I was so into trying to inject positive self-talk and affirmations whenever I'd feel this negativity, but that always felt like band-aids when I needed stitches. So with this, I made the choice that whenever a negative thought would pop up, whatever was disrupting the harmony of my mind, I decided I just wasn't going to fight it anymore. I wasn't going to argue with it or defend myself. Instead, I would just say, sure, maybe I am all the things that I think I am, but only in this mind and for only just this moment. It's like the second I did that, I don't know, I didn't have to carry it anymore. I'm telling you, it was a physical relief that comes with it. It's it's like, oh, sure, okay, maybe I am. Maybe I am all these things. Now what? It was surprising to me because, you know, very quickly those thoughts kind of lose their grip and kind of have to fall away once you stop resisting them. When I looked at a painful thought and said, sure, I can feel this. It can exist right now, right here, but it doesn't have to follow me into the next moment. Something like for real shifted. I actually felt lighter. And I for real noticed this friction start to disappear. And that has been one of the most valuable practices I have ever found. But that's for me. And you can't just listen to these words. You have to test it all for yourself. You have to find what's, true for your own experience. And if you discover something worth sharing, you got to bring it back here. Because we're not here to compile ideas. We're here to compare notes. You know what I'm saying? So never be shy to do that here. That is what I am looking to build through all of this. All of this. It is pretty cool though. This channel did just hit 700 subscribers. I remember, when I first started posting these videos and it began to barely resonate with some people. I specifically remember thinking man, if I could ever get to 700 people who found this valuable, that would be incredible. And in my mind, that number meant maybe I'd finally feel like I was onto something. And then I hit 700. And it was cool for about 5 seconds. And then the very next thought was, okay, well, I got to 700, so I wonder how quickly I could get to 1,000. You know what I'm saying? And in that moment, you have to catch yourself. And you realize that the proof, was never the number that was going to fulfill me. It was the feeling I believed the number would give me. And if that feeling disappears the second you achieve the goal, then maybe you're looking in the wrong place all along. Instead of chasing accomplishments because you think, they'll finally give you permission to feel proud, see if you can give yourself that permission right now. And even if you can only move an inch closer to those feelings today, that's far more valuable of a victory than any number you'll ever reach. But thanks for sitting with me through all of these. And as always, this will be here when you need it.